Well, excellent. Thank you so much, Brother Anderson, and good evening, brothers. Good evening, everyone who is joining us this evening for this very, very, very important webinar. I apologize for not putting on my camera, and but I'm walking out of the White House from an event this evening representing the organization. But I thought that it was important that I jump on this webinar this evening to make sure that not only do I greet you all, but I also share with you how important it is for us as men of color or anyone who is joining us, right? Because we know that we sent this out to the community for folks who are joining us that, that we are finding not only members of our organization, but allies who are willing to support and understand and educate themselves and understand the importance of us not only being under the microscope, but being behind the microscope. Tonight, you're going to hear from members of our organization and from our sister organization and experts around the importance of the research that we've been doing with the All of Us project and why we as a fraternity need to continue to support not only this initiative, but understanding the importance of the messaging on how your chapters and you individually and collectively can make sure that we push the message of us as men, making sure that we are part of clinical trials, that we understand this industry and how this industry impacts our communities generationally. And that means that we have to continue as a fraternity to push identifying brothers who are getting into science spaces, those who are serious about research, specifically in the health space, and how you can support us, how you can be a part of this movement, and how the fraternity can be a catalyst to individuals uh, 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 participating in clinical trials and being a part of the research about our anatomy, our physiology, and understanding that as we look for particular drugs and medications that impact us, and how those proper medications and need to be developed, and they need to be developed by people that look like us in the labs. Because why? Because now we would have gotten all this data, and we will be able to not only be advocates in that laboratory, but we'll also be the individuals who are being innovative in developing them and making sure that they're getting down to us at the lowest levels instead of just giving us products that 10, 15 years down the road, we're seeing side effects because they didn't take our physiology into consideration. And so this is a big deal. This is an important webinar tonight that we have, and I just appreciate all the brothers who are joining us, and hoping that you will take this information back to your chapters and share this information with them, and that if one brother understands the importance of being a part of a clinical trial and they become a part of that trial, we have won tonight if one brother decides to step up to the plate. But my hope is that it'll be multiple brothers. So again, thank you all for joining us. Thank you for being on tonight. Thank you to our presenters tonight who's going to share some amazing information for you guys. And as they say, knowledge is power. And of course, to our soror and my sister, Dr. Jones. Dr. Jones, we thank you so much for your work and your tireless work in this space and building this infrastructure and this apparatus for us as a people to benefit from. So God bless you all. Thank you so much. And I turn it back over to you, Brother IED.
Thank you, Brother President. As usual, your words are eloquent and very inspiring. We certainly appreciate it. I want to talk a little bit about why we are here. Now, the president has laid out the groundwork for why we are going to do this part, but we have to talk about relationships. That's critically important. So Phi Beta Sigma has a relationship with the National Institute of Health. They are the ones that, to tell the story, and hopefully I'm not stealing anything for Soror Dr. Jones, but my favorite president, Barack Obama, set aside some money during his term that was not removed by his successor, right there. And so that money went into funding an opportunity for us to expand what had already occurred with the Affordable Care Act. So it's a privilege for Phi Beta Sigma to partner with NIH. It's a privilege for Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated to be all of us. And it's a privilege to work under Sora Dr. Jennifer Jones as she leads a Black Greek Consortium, Black Greek Letter Consortium. But part of what we want to do, and the purpose tonight, is to show that this is not a new game for Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. Phi Beta, and you all know it. You know your brothers. You know the ones that we put out there because you're reading these e-blasts that we send on a regular basis that promote all of these brothers and the successes that we've had in the organization. But the team, the communication team, is shout out to Dr. Rafael Matos, to Steve Ballard, and to Brother Damon Ray for putting together the video I want to show you all so that you can get a better understanding of how this works for Phi Beta Sigma. So give me a moment. Let me do this. And we just tested it and everything worked well. So let's try it again. All right, here we go.
As Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated has partnered with the National Institutes of Health's All of Us research program to join in this new era in which researchers, healthcare providers, technology experts, community partners, and public work together to develop individualized healthcare. In this new era of collective efforts, we pause to recognize Blacks in research within the research pipeline. Today, we celebrate Phi Beta Sigma men who were pioneers in research. As a botany and agriculture teacher to the children of ex-slaves, Tuskegee University says Brother Dr. George Washington Carver wanted to improve the lot of the man farthest down, the poor one house farmer at the mercy of the market and chained to the land exhausted by cotton. Unlike other agricultural researchers of his time, Brother Dr. Carver saw the need to devise practical farming methods for this kind of farmer. He wanted to coax the other farmers away from the standard product of cotton to such soil-enhancing, protein-rich crops and soybeans and peanuts to teach them the self-sufficiency and conservation. Brother Dr. Carver achieved this through an innovative series of free, simply written brochures that included information on crops, cultivation techniques, and recipes for nutritious meals. He also urged the farmers to submit samples of their soil and water for analysis and taught them livestock care and food preservation techniques. Brother Dr. Carver took a holistic approach to knowledge, which embraced faith and inquiry in a unified quest for truth. Carver also believed that commitment to the larger reality is necessary if science and technology are to serve human needs rather than the egos of the powerful. His belief in service was a direct outgrowth and expression of his merging of inquiry and commitment. One of his favorite sayings was, "It is not the style of clothes one wears, neither the kind of automobile one drives, nor the amount of money one has in the bank that counts. These mean nothing. It is simply service that measures success." That's coming from a true Phi Beta Sigma man. Brother Dr. Thomas Wyatt Turner was an American civil rights activist, biologist, and educator. He was the first African American to receive his PhD in botany, which was from Cornell University. The university currently has a fellowship in his honor. In 1909, he became a founding member of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People as its first secretary of the Baltimore branch, and was also active in promoting the right of Blacks to vote. From 1914 to 1924, Brother Dr. Turner served as professor of botany at Howard University, which has provided courses of botany since 1867. He was the founding head when the Department of Botany was established in 1922. As well as biology, he felt that the mentorship provided by the teachers and faculty had a vital impact on students' careers. Brother Monroe in Work was a sociologist, scholar, and researcher who spent his life collecting information and helping others to understand it. The highlight of his career was the publications of 9 editions of the Negro Yearbook between 1912 and 1938. Each edition was an encyclopedic collection of yearly facts and data that covered many aspects of African American life and compiled by Brother work from the data submitted to the wider community. Each subsequent edition became the essential source of Black data in the United States and was reported on widely by the white and Black press, and even used as a resource equally in many schools in America and abroad. Brother Monroe Work founded the Department of Records and Research at the Tuskegee Institute. During his career, Brother Work published 66 lynching reports, 9 editions of the Negro Yearbook, and more than 70 articles. Brother Dr. Ambrose Colliver was appointed in 1930 by President Herbert Hoover to the new position of Senior Specialist in the Education of Negroes in the United States Office of Education. He remained to the post when Franklin D. Roosevelt was elected president 2 years later and joined Franklin D. Roosevelt's Black cabinet. In that post, Colliver sought to raise national awareness about the disparities in education between Blacks and whites, especially in the rural South. Brother Colliver performed many duties during his tenure in the Office of Education, but perhaps the most influential work was what he did in the studies that he compiled on the national scale. During his time in office, he notably headed the National Survey of Teacher Education, the National Secondary Education Survey, the National Survey of Vocational and Educational Guidance of Negroes, the National Survey of Higher Education of Negroes. He compiled the national statistics of the education of Negroes from 1933 to 1934, and again in 1935 to 1936. These works changed the face of Black education on the national scale, bringing to light the common fact that there were an overwhelming lack of secondary education for African Americans. Brother Dr. John A. Kinney Sr. was a trailblazer for Black doctors. He graduated first in his class at Hampton Institute and received his MD from Leonard Medical School at Shaw University. He was the personal doctor of Booker T. Washington and George Washington Carver, and headed the newly established John A. Andrew Memorial Hospital at Tuskegee Institute in Tuskegee, Alabama. He founded the Kinney Memorial Hospital in Newark, New Jersey. Between 1927 and 1934, Kinney Memorial served 4,543 bed patients, 584 free clinic patients, and performed 1,109 operations and only 19 deaths. The hospital was renamed the Booker T. Washington Community Hospital in 1935.
So again, I'm just excited. I'm excited for the brotherhood. I'm excited for the community in general, because if you don't write your own narrative, I promise you, someone will write it for you, and there's no telling what they will say. But when you tell your own story and give God the glory at the same time, it's not a sermon, but I will preach this if you let me. If you tell your story and give God the glory, it will come out well. So thank you, Phi Beta Sigma, for joining us tonight. Thank you for the opportunity to give you a little Black history. And we are Sigma, so we are Black history, and everybody needs to understand that. We're going to segue over now to my good brother, co-lead of our team, our BGLC team for Phi Beta Sigma, future Dr. Jared Benjamin. Brother Benjamin, take it over.
Thank you, Brother Darrell Anderson. It's a pleasure to be here today. Y'all, as our icebreaker, as our way of just going into more moments of education, I wanted to provide you a few fun facts tonight. So again, my name is Brother Jared Benjamin. I just want to share some fun facts that I thought were intriguing as we look through the idea and the thought processes of medical research. And so I want to share, your taste buds have a lifespan. Who would have thought that? Your taste buds have a lifespan. Taste buds responsible for detecting flavors have a lifespan about 10 to 14 days. This means that your taste preference can change over time and new taste buds replace old ones. Got a few more, y'all, so hang with me. Of course, we know our fingerprints are unique. Everyone's fingerprints are unique, even identical twins. This fact forms the basis for forensic science and criminal investigations. I want to talk about the stomach acidic environment. The stomach's gastric acid is potent enough to dissolve certain metals. Thankfully, the stomach lining is also equipped to withstand certain acidities. The length of blood vessels. If you were to line up all your blood vessels in your body, they would stretch about 60,000 miles. That's long enough to go around the earth more than twice. Your brain is super efficient. Despite the making of about 2% of your body weight, the brain consumes about 20% of your body's oxygen and calories. It's a highly energy demanding organ that plays a crucial role in almost every aspect of your life. Fingernails grow faster than toenails. Come on, somebody. On an average, now this don't give you an excuse. Go get your nails done again, Sir Jones. Now, on an average, fingernails grow about 3 times faster than toenails. Fingernails typically grow at a rate of 3 millimeters per month, while toenails grow about 1 millimeter per month. The body glows. In complete darkness, the body emits a faint glow. The phenomenon known as bioluminescence is a result of biochemical reactions happening within our cells. And I have two more. You produce enough saliva to fill up 2 swimming pools in an average lifespan. Your brain can process information as fast as 120 miles per hour. The speed in which information travels the brain can reach up to 120 meters per second, which is approximately 268 miles per hour. I want to take an excerpt out of a poem written by Maya Angelou, The Brave and Startling Truth. We, this people, on a small and lonely planet, traveling through a casual space, past aloof stars, across waves of indifferent suns, to a destination where all signs tell us it is possible and imperative that we learn a brave and startling truth. Why did I find that poem appropriate tonight? Because there's truths that are buried in our courage if we decide to submit our thoughts, our actions, and even a part of us to science that would change the trajectory for a future. I would offer to you today Phi Beta Sigma, along with Zeta Phi Beta and our other consortium partners. We believe in creating pathways. Those pathways cannot be created for future generations to live and solve medical crises and solutions if we don't be bold in today. So I encourage each of you to take bold steps, because in every step, generations will create pathways and walk in our footprints. I encourage you tonight to be bold through the tools put in your tool bags, through information given, through fun facts that was offered, to be bold, establish footsteps for people to walk in behind us. I'm excited to present to you. I'm thrilled to present to you a good friend that I've heard from often in these last few months. And I offer to you my friend, my sister, our Black Greek Letter Consortium Program Lead, Dr. Jennifer M. Jones. Thank you so much for your time tonight.
Oh my God. I got to follow both of y'all. Y'all both ministers and y'all know how to call the people to the altar. Yes. It is an honor and a pleasure to be a part of this webinar this evening. Thank you so much, Brother Jared. This is great. Like, y'all have started off big and y'all keep it going, and I appreciate that. Again, I am Dr. Jennifer J.J. Jones, and I serve as a program lead for the Black Greek Letter Consortium. And you're probably saying, what is the Black Greek Letter Consortium? It's really MPHC. We've been working with this program with the NIH for 5 years now, going on our 6th year. When we started, there was only 5 organizations who originally became a part of this consortium. And so, because there was a lot of turnover within our presidents, because they were going out of office and they didn't want to take on this big endeavor with a new president coming in. But now all Divine Nine, all presidents support this program, and we have been working diligently bringing awareness about the All of Us research program. So I'm just going to give you a snippet of what the All of Us research program is. It's a research program led by the National Institutes of Health, as Fraternity said, to help researchers understand more about why people get sick and why some of us stay healthy. The All of Us research program is a historic longitudinal effort to gather data from 1 million or more people living in the United States to create a diverse health database that represents all of us by considering individual differences in life circumstances, socioeconomics, the environment, and biology. Researchers may uncover paths toward developing precision medicine or individualized prevention and care for all of us. And like Fraternity was saying, right now, most of our medications are based on a 67-year-old white man. That's the truth. So everything doesn't fit us, right? And so precision medicine is a new way of medicine. And by us being a part of this big, humongous database, our researchers can go in, get this information, and find cures for us, some of those ailments that plague our community. So when I started being the lead for this program. I was re-diagnosed. This was in 2017. The day before my birthday, I was re-diagnosed with breast cancer. And I couldn't understand why. I had no earthly idea why. But because of being a part of this program, I began to understand and doors began to unlock about my medical history that I didn't even know. And they could, because it came back twice, what I had to go, I did a genealogical test to see if this was hereditary for me and my family. And what they found was it was not. Not only was it not hereditary, but I wasn't even susceptible to getting cancer in the first place. But one of the things I learned about this program is that they're looking at the holistic person. And one of the things that they looked at is where I came from, my environment. And my cancer was totally environmental because of where I grew up in Southeast Texas, where they had, we call Chemical Row, a number of chemical plants that was on that row. And before all these regulations on what you could dump into the water, because I was on the Gulf, they were dumping chemicals in our water. That was in our water, was in our air. We were breathing it. And there was about 15 people in my little small neighborhood that died of cancer, which included my mother, my father. When I was re-diagnosed, my youngest brother was diagnosed in October. He succumbed on Valentine's Day of that year that I had just had my surgery at the second time, my second surgery. And so I began to ask my oncologist questions. Why are you making me do some of these things and I'm not getting the same result? Like getting chemo for an hour and having to have my hands and feet in ice for an hour. And I'm trying to understand why. They said, well, this could prevent you from getting neuropathy. It didn't work. I still got neuropathy. So I wanted to know why. So we as a people, we need to ask those questions. Why? Why am I taking this pill? What are the side effects of this pill? You know, because we will go to the pharmacist and the pharmacist will say, would you like a consultation? And we will say no, because we're trying to get our bag and get out the door instead of taking the time to find out what this medicine can do to your body, what this medicine can do for your future, because it wasn't made for you. So we need to be at the table. We need to not only be at the table, we need to be doctors, we need to be scientists, and we need to be researchers to take care of our own self. Because there's a quote that says you can't solve a problem with the same mindset that caused it. So whoever caused our situation, they can't be the one to cure us, right? So we have to do that ourselves. And we can't live in fear because some people, well, I don't want people to get my information down. When you were born, they got your DNA. I guarantee you, they already have it. So this is a way. Don't live in fear because we serve somebody that's bigger than fear. I'm just saying to the ministers on the call. But yes, so we can't live in fear. We have to walk in our greatness. We have to be champions of our own health. Because my daughter, after I got cancer the second time, knowing her grandmother and grandfather died of cancer before she did, her father, my first husband, died of cancer at 34. And so when I got cancer the second time, she asked the question, am I going to die of cancer? And I could not answer that question. I couldn't. And so this program has opened my eyes. I enrolled. I've gotten some benefits, some return on my investments. You can be as in deep in it as you want. And one of those things was that geological test to find out what's going on. They have tested a certain amount of genes in my body to see if they're susceptible for different diseases. That has come out clear. But not knowing that I need to know my history, my medical history. You know, we don't know Black History Month. Some of us don't even know where we came from. Being a part of this program, now I know where I came from. 78% Nigerian. Who knew? So I know where I came from. So there's some benefits in being a part of this program outside of being a part of this database. So our researchers can go dive in and get the information that we need to be able to come up with some solutions to some of the things that ails us. So one of the things that we have started, one initiative that we started in August was our Divine Nine Researchers Pipeline. So this is a beginning. I went to the presidents and I said, can I reach out to our membership and find all of our scientists, researchers, both undergrad and graduates, to be a part of this database, to be able to go in there and get that information to help them, you know, seek out things that they're already researching, coming up with all kinds of answers. And they said yes. And because of that, we had our first 13 researchers that are in the database. They've been registered in the database. They're ready to go in and do the thing. And I right now have the honor and the pleasure of introducing one of those researchers who've been a part of this in our first cohort of researchers, the first 13. and he's a member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. And so it was with my very much proudness that I introduced my brother, Brother Bobby Booker.
Wow, thank you, Soror, Dr. Jones, as we affectionately call her in the Divine Nine Research Pipeline, JJ. My name is Bobby Booker. I'm a communications and community outreach manager and one of the first D9 Research Pipeline members. Last year, myself and 12 other historically Black fraternity and sorority members came together to become the first cohort of the Divine Nine Research Pipeline. And this program brought together established fraternity and sorority members from various walks of life, biostatisticians, epidemiologists, research, and community grant workers. Our goal was to form a group of connected individuals to work hand in hand with the National Institute of Health and the community. So our goal was to help advocate and provide equity for those considered underrepresented in the biomedical research field. In 2024, we are hearing all kinds of buzzwords about health equity, diversity, and inclusion, but in the Divine Nine Research Pipeline, we are actually living it day by day. Whether we're researching ways to create more inclusive weight loss tables, using data from specific database workbench, or we're looking at ways to get doctors to look more intently at Black women's health, like JJ mentioned. The bottom line and the fact is that more lives can be saved with thoughtful and impactful research, with diversity at the table, with thoroughly researched and supported statistics. So this is what the last year has done for me personally and professionally. I am proud to be a part of this first group, and we're already hitting the ground running with the cohort number 2. In fall 2023, we had the honor of being at the Black Congressional Caucus, and D9 researchers were there, and it was evidently clear to me and the other members that there are people in higher levels working and making moves for the culture. And without further ado, I just want to thank you for your attention. And at this time, I want to pass it over to Honorable Brother Daryl Anderson.
All right. So you've gotten a lot of information, and thank God we're taping it, because some of you are going to send a message that says it's going to be posted. And so when we get permission from the National Institute of Health to post it, that's what we will do. And we're going to put it on Blueprint. Why? Because that's where we put everything on Blueprint. Now, let's talk about this, because we hadn't mentioned it. But this gives me a segue into the next voice that you're going to hear. When you're dealing with the All of Us program, which is really a national program, we have to divide and conquer. We can't take on every market individually. That's not going to work. So as a part of our partnership, we had an opportunity to select cities or states that we feel could be targeted based on the skills of the people who are operating on the All of Us team. The Phi Beta Sigma All of Us team, besides Brother Booker, is Jared Benjamin and myself. Now, Brother Booker is not country, but Jared and I are country as we can be. So when we had, that's right, show yourself. When we had an opportunity to select a site, God operates in an interesting way. The first site that we selected was Houston, not even taking into account that we were going to have our conclave in Houston, Texas. We worked that market. So the next one that we selected was the great state of Mississippi. Why? Because only Phi Beta Sigma can handle Mississippi. None of the other D9s can handle Mississippi. So as we look for our keynote person tonight, we didn't purposely do this, but he was suggested to us by Dr. Vernon Rayford, who is our liaison for St. Jude's Children's Hospital in Memphis, Tennessee. He recommended this brother, this good brother, Dr. Jamarius Waller. Well, guess what? Jamarius Waller is from the great state of Mississippi. So Phi Beta Sigma is being very consistent with his mission in this process. Dr. Waller attended Ole Miss. We're not going to hold that against him. He did attend Ole Miss and got a BS in mathematics, but went on to become a pharmacologist and toxicologist, and has segued from Mississippi into Atlanta, Georgia, where he received a fellowship and is working on his MD at Emory University. We're talking about, we're our Sigmas. We are Sigmas, and we are Black history. This brother is setting the pipeline for everybody, and he's going to tell you what our focus is for this particular webinar, and we're going to give it to him. But brothers, please applaud a highly educated Black man who's representing your organization very well. Dr. Waller, the floor is yours.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Anderson, for that introduction. Brother Anderson, sorry, but hey, um, so I don't have much time, so I guess I'll go ahead and jump into what I was going to discuss tonight. Whenever I think about and whenever Brother Rayford asks me would I participate in this, there's one quote that I kind of think about all the time in clinic, and I think about in the research lab as well. It's from Dr. King, and he said that of all the forms of inequity and injustice, the injustice that's seen in the healthcare system is the most humane and cruel. And being a physician and a researcher, specifically in Atlanta, I see that play out on a day-to-day basis in so many different facets. And so today I want to take some time to kind of express to the audience why it's so important that not only we participate in the studies like the All of Us study, but also it's important for us to be behind the microscope and in the lab and also in the clinics, because our patients really need us, and the people that these studies affect the most need our voices behind them as well. So when I was thinking about this topic a couple of days ago, I think there was three main points that really came to my mind. The first is the basis of trust. I think when I think about medicine and research, particularly in the Black community, trust is one of the biggest things that come to mind. And in medical school, you learn about the Tuskegee study in the early 1900s, but that's kind of where the mistrust of African Americans ends in the minds of a lot of medical schools and graduate schools. But if you dig deep into that topic, it really stretches years and centuries back in our nation's history. Even in the mid to late 1800s, there was individuals in Philadelphia when medical schools were first kind of getting off the ground. They would recruit African Americans to pillage the cemeteries, the Black cemeteries in Philadelphia, in order to achieve cadavers so that the medical students could learn and experiment without the permission of those families. And even if we stretch back further than that, you in the early 1700s, early 1800s, we can talk about Dr. Marion Sims, who's believed to be one of the great fathers of obstetrics and gynecology. And if you look deep into his history, you know that many of the discoveries that he came up with, like the speculum and different obstetric techniques, were practiced on slaves against their own will. And a lot of those slaves went on to become his nurses later on. So these are the stories, in my mind, these are the stories that our ancestors passed down to us. They're not always written in books, and they're not always expressed, and they're not known by a lot of doctors and a lot of researchers, but they're important because they build the earned mistrust from our community in the medical education system and in the research system. And I think it's important that when we join these systems, we have the ability to counter some of that mistrust, because it's hard to take it away. And I think trust has to be earned just as mistrust was earned in the past. And so us being a part of that on the other side of the operation table, on the other side of the research bench, allows us to begin to instill that in trust in our people, in order to really help them feel confident in joining these studies and feel confident in going to the doctor and being proactive about their medical health, and learning more about who they are and how things affect them, and how all these research studies and developments affect their physiology in particular, and not just how they affect others. The other aspect of trust that I like to think about is just trust in science. A lot of times we as a community don't trust science, again, for good reasons, because the science has not always been told to us in the right way, and it's not always been interpreted to our people in a favorable manner. I use, for example, the fact that it was believed until about 2 years ago that African Americans have higher kidney function than white Americans and other Americans, just based on the um, misinformation that African Americans had more muscle mass, so their kidney functions would at baseline be naturally higher. Other things that we've kind of come across in in the medical field when it comes to the science is that it's been believed that African Americans don't feel pain as much as other races feel pain, and we've come, as we've gotten more of us in the field and more of us to push back against these fallacies, we've been able to kind of reverse that mindset a bit, and that's just given a small piece of what having us on the other side can do to kind of push forward our medical literacy and our medical understanding. The second aspect I think about is just general diversity. And I feel like it's something that we don't truly understand a lot because we grow up in our communities and we know our people and we know the things that make us tick and that kind of the ways that we live and the way we interact with the world. But we don't understand that other people, mainly the people who who build a lot of these research institutions and do a lot of these research projects, they don't understand that. And I think we don't know that they don't understand that until we sit in these rooms and talk with them and realize how little understanding they have of our culture, and how we interact with the world and how the world interacts with us, and how we can use that to kind of combat disease and figure out what's the best route forward with medications and therapies to help our people and understand the origins of these diseases from a more base standpoint instead of just standing back and looking from the outside in. I'll say the third kind of aspect that I think about is inclusivity. And the idea of inclusivity, which is kind of what all of us is, like the entire research project in itself. And I'm a strong believer that unless you have people within a study or that are a part of building a study and building a research project, then the people that are going to be the people who are studied in those studies probably won't be accurately represented if there's not researchers behind them that look like them, that live like them, that talk like them. And so I think it's important, before we even talk about getting individuals in our community into these studies, we need to talk about first who's building these studies, and are people who look like us a part of the building of those studies. Because if you have a shaky foundation and the study is built on false information, it's going to get bad results every time. I'll also say that in my clinics, I can see the individuals who look like us, particularly in the Atlanta area, particularly at Grady Hospital. Those patients, when they see us and they interact with us, there is not only a level of comfort and a level of trust, but there is a level of wanting to understand about their diseases and about what things affect them and about what things they can do. But I would say that I feel like a lot of times when there aren't physicians who look like us and researchers who look like us, there's not that same level of comfort. And so people don't ask questions. And so I think in order to get people asking questions and feel comfortable asking questions and getting involved, we need people kind of who can make them feel comfortable and who can encourage them to express themselves and tell their experiences so that we can better understand how to help them and develop better research projects around that. I see that my time is kind of coming close, but I did want to end with two particular things. One is a quote from Malcolm X that, again, is one that I think about a lot, as I've thought about as I've been in school for a long time. And that's that education is the passport to the future, and that tomorrow is always given to those who prepare for it today. And so I think being involved in researching, hopefully my talk can give someone the encouragement to get involved in research and to get involved on the other side of research and get those graduate degrees, get those medical degrees, because we really need you guys on the other side. And the only way we can prepare for the future that's headed down this research path that's going to be really driven by what studies we do in the next, decade to 2 decades. We really need our voices to be heard on the back end of that. And I think this program is a great starting point. and a great kind of jumping off point to kind of get people involved in research, and then also get us on the other side, because we also need to be involved in the actual research projects so that they can understand our physiology and how things affect us.
I didn't really want you to stop talking.
I was saying I could give I have a lot to say, Brother Anderson, but I'll
That was
stop.
some
I'll
good
stop there
stuff.
because I saw my time limit was up.
Oh, maybe.
That was good stuff. I just want to know, Fred Waller, when are you going to join the Divine Researchers Pipeline?
I would love to. We can
We
talk.
can talk.
Yeah.
We can talk.
All right. At this point, we were going to segue over to the president, but we have a couple of more calls tonight, and I know the president had to jump off. So I'm going to toss it back to Sora Dr. Jones as she gives us a little bit more meat around this bone and allow us to ask questions at some point. So Dr. Jones, it's back to you.
Well, thank you very much, Fraternity. I'm open for questions. think the program right now has the goal is 1 million. They have about 800,000 that have enrolled. And there's about 600,000 who have fully enrolled. And what does fully enrolled mean? Fully enrolled means that you've given some form of data. That could be through surveys, that could be through providing your bio samples, through saliva, through blood draws. You've given your measurements. You may be wearing a Fitbit. The program actually provide those for some of the participants. So that's what that is, being a part of that data. And growing. So the more information we get, like when people enroll and they decide to move forward with it and providing some of this data, that just adds to the database. So it just continually gets more and more information. The program is moving toward pediatrics. So right now to enroll, you have to be 18 years and older to enroll. And so now they're looking to start a pediatric. They're still building out what that would look like. So of course, once we have all that information, we would share that with the membership as well. But I think it was something that I did, and I went back and told my family that they needed to enroll as well, because I see the significance in it. I see the importance in it. And again, as Dr. Waller was saying, we need to be a part of the solution. And part of being the solution is not being afraid of math and science, not being afraid of those things, thinking that they're hard. When people are, and I commend you, Dr. Waller, for taking the time and the years that it took to hone your craft and to be a solution and be a part of helping the community when it comes to their health. And we need more doctors that looks like me. None of my doctors look like me, and I'm leery of that. And so I had to decide who's going to be my doctor and what am I going to base it on. And I base it on their faith. Are you a believer? So that's what I had to base it on, because they didn't look like me. And I was trying actually to find a plastic surgeon that was Black and a woman in Dallas, Texas. They don't exist. So, things like that is hard for me to have the information that I have because of this program and not being able to find what I need. That's disheartening without having to drive somewhere or flying somewhere. And it shouldn't be like that. So I am open for questions. I know we have a few minutes.
Well, we do, but I have a question, Dr. Jones.
Ask me the question, Brother Darrell.
Well, I've been roaming around and I've heard about something called Rooted in Resilience.
Oh, yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about Rooted in Resilience?
Boy, can I tell you. So as I said, part of what we do is bring awareness and education about the program. And one of the things that we found out during COVID was that we can't just do a one and done, do a webinar, do a, visit, do a activity that's outside or whatever we're doing, one and done. Like we do it, we pass out the information and we leave. Well, we thought we needed to do something that was consistent. We know that series is a thing. We learned all of that during COVID. And I don't know if any of you as members of Phi Beta Sigma remember, I know Brother Darrell may, but each of our presidents came together, and because of COVID, we had to pivot to virtual. And so in that, we decided to do a series of webinars that each organization chose their topic of what they wanted to talk about. And what that included was things that either were your national programs that you were working with, or it was you had members who were experts in different things that came and talked about it. It was things from mental health to financial literacy to eating healthy, all the things. And through the month of May 2020, in May, each week we had 2 webinars from each of the organizations. Was amazing. And after each webinar ended, we would do a survey and we would ask the people, what is it? What do you need? What's going on? How are you feeling? What's happening during this COVID time? And mental health was number 1. Wow, it was number 1. And so from that, we took this rooted in theme because it was rooted in research. Then we moved to rooted in culture. We moved to rooted in faith. We were rooted in rhetoric, and we were rooted in education, which again, another series. Then we decided to take our show on the road. So Rooted in Resilience is a 3-day tour that we started 3 years ago. This will be the 3rd year that we've done this. We go to 4 to 3 cities. This year we're going to 3 cities, and we do our operation based on the 3 C's: church, community, and college. So when we're in that city, we will partner with a college, HBCU in particular, and we would bring this information to them in a way that they can receive it, because we're dealing with college students. So we will have our version of Family Feud. Hilarious. So they do this, they compete against 2 teams, compete against each other, and we provide their questions has something to do with health. So, and we survey 100 of those students from that institution, because that's what Family Feud does. 100 surveys, people with surveys, and this is the answer. So we do that. Then we have a panel, a mental health panel. We have Jade Mathis, the eldest daughter of Judge Mathis, who travels with us, and she is a mental health advocate. And so she does a panel with people from the institution that's in the mental health field, in a community person that's a part of mental health. And then we have students on the panel, and they just share. Students share about what it's like being a student on campus, the stress that they encounter, the anxiety, all the things. And then we end the night with bingo. The second day, community, on a Saturday, we have a big old party. In essence, we open this up. Everything is free for the community. We have vendors, we have entertainment, we have food trucks, we have all kinds of things. And as we're enjoying our day, we have a kids zone, so it's family friendly. And where we have our partners who come and talk about the program and how they connect with the program. We have local dignitaries who will come. We've done interviews with radio stations and all that week. So it's just a fun day to get involved, get insight on being a champion of your own health. And then on Sunday, we take it to church. We will partner with a local church, and we go in and we talk. Depending on their service, they let us know how much we can give. And we've done videos, we've done speaking times. Myself and Jade will tell a little bit of our stories. And then after church, we will give them information. So it is a week out of the Rooted Resilience Tour. We will be in Jackson, Mississippi, February the 16th through the 18th. We will be in Miami, Florida, March the 15th through the 17th. And we will end it in Dallas, Texas, my hometown, whoop, whoop, on April the 5th through the 7th. So we know you got chapters all over the place. So have them contact us, because we want to get our local chapters and councils involved in this endeavor. So they can contact us. Please contact me, and I will get you engaged and a part of any of those cities where you have chapters in. So yes, there you go. Did that answer your question?
We got a question. Dr. Rafael Matos is with us. That's our resident questionnaire. And so, Dr. Matos, have you pulled any questions that you want to present at this time, sir? Did I lose Dr. Matos? That's all right. I got the same questions. So here we go. First question.
Yes.
This brother said, I'm Dr. Ishmael Conway. I'm an experienced qualitative researcher. Is there any room in the group for a brother with my skill? He's Beta Gamma, Spring 80 out of Hampton University. He wants to know how he can become a researcher.
Absolutely. So we're ever recruiting. So if you give me your information, or I'll give you my information, because can't type it in the chat, but I'll give you my information. Or even you can get Brother Darrell. Reach out to Brother Darrell, who reach out to me, and we can send you some information about the program. Absolutely, because we are ever recruiting. So yes, absolutely yes.
All right, I like this one. From Honorable Brother Philip Hubbard III, who I do know very well, what projects are available for men of color in Southern California?
Ooh, wee, woo. Fraternity talked about these market cities. So there are cities that the program has targeted, or states they have targeted that we go in. California is one of those. I think it's San Jacinto, and I don't know if that's north, south, east, west, because I'm from Texas. So yeah. So yeah, there's some activities going on there. We would have to just get you connected with the work that's being done there. It's a smaller market, and there's not a whole lot of stuff going on right now, but we can definitely try to get you connected with the folks that's doing work in California. And we are actually thinking about venturing out into California as well.
Now, there are two questions that are the same, and they really fall into our wheelhouse, so I'm really going to put that out there. How do they enroll in the research program?
Absolutely. So I would say the best way is to contact Frater Darrell, who again, if you can just send him your name and your email address, and I will take it from there. Name and email address that way, and I will email you all the information you need, and you can go from there. And if you have any questions, we can talk about that. If you want to talk on the phone for me to give you some personalized information, I can do that as well.
And this will be the last question. How does this NIH registry connect participants to clinical trials in their area?
This program does not do that. It's literally gathering data that goes into now they can I think there's a arm with the All of Us Research program that can talk about what's out there, but they're not specifically doing that. They're really just enrolling to have people have their information in this database for the researchers to go in and do their thing. And there's also a public facing database as well. So if you are a citizen researcher, you can actually go in as well and do that. One of the things that we started about 2 years ago, I think this is the third year, was our minority student research symposium. And it went over so well that now the NIH has taken it nationally. So we're very proud of that. And that's coming up in April. And we can provide that information also to Darrell to get to your membership. Because you can come in, be a part of that. If you're a researcher, you can be a part of that. And next year, you could actually be mentors to the students, because these are students, grad students, they're undergraduate students. Last year, I believe a high school student won, because they go into the database and look for something that they're interested in. And part of that is researching that thing. And then they create a poster, and there's a contest that's done, and they get a financial award for that. So, yes. But all this information we will share with Brother Darrell and Brother Jared, so they can get that information to you.
We have an excellent communication team that will make sure that they get it all to them. Hopefully, we have the email addresses from those who are asking these questions.
Yes, please.
As we get ready to close out, I want to thank my teammates from BGLC. I want to thank SORA Dr. Jennifer Jones. For those of you who don't know, Dr. Jones was the president of the National NPHC for God knows how long. I don't know. She was there for 10 years. Like, my God. And she took it to a new level. And so we always applaud her, and pretty much anything she asks us to do, we're going to get it done. I want to thank Brother Booker. This is his first year. He came on here. He's representing Phi Beta Sigma to the fullest degree. And what else can you say? Jared Benjamin, a soldier behind the scenes, making it happen, and then putting his face out here, connecting superior work, excellent work with the name of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated and BGLC and All of Us Research. There's a face on here that you all can't see. Her name is Larissa Gilmer. Larissa, you gonna plan on showing your face tonight? What are you doing? You gonna show us?
She's probably in the meeting. She did text me and say that she was doing. There she is.
Hello, Larissa. How are you? Are you gonna stay mute now, huh?
Doing well. Luckily, I made it home just in time so I can speak to y'all. It is so good to be a part of this program. It was wonderful, as all of you have said. Thank you so much for the information. I have enjoyed myself. Please, for all of you who had those questions, please reach out to us. We will get you information on enrollment into the program. We don't want you to miss out on being a part, being one in a million. So thank you again for having me. Thank you for all of your support, and I hope y'all have a great night.
We have one more friend. We have one more call to action. Let's introduce the friend first. Dr. Johnny Cruz, Greg. Dr. Johnny, that's a road dog right there. That's somebody. Now, I will tell you all, she's actually representing Drift. She's representing Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated tonight. But we both know how that works with our organization. Dr. Craig, you're going to come on the camera. What you going to do? You're just going to hide? Tell me what you're doing tonight now. She's hot. Here we go.
I am on really quickly. I'm actually on 3 different meetings at one time, but I was listening because I got my earbud in right here. And let me tell you, this information was phenomenal. I absolutely love the discussion. I think it really gave a lot of insight to our community. And I look forward to repurposing this recording so that it can go out to the masses. This is absolutely amazing. So thank you to our brothers of Phi Beta Sigma, and of course to Dr. Jones.
Dr. Matos, I see that you're back. Are you able to talk at this point, sir?
I am.
There you go.
There you went.
Yes.
So we have a survey. We have a QR
do.
code for a survey that Dr. Jones wants us to complete.
Yes, please, please.
So if you take out your smartphones and do what, Dr. Matos?
If you can go ahead, please. See that lovely, that's not my picture. I know it looks beautiful, but that's not my face. That's the QR code. What I need you to do is please take out your phones. Just scan it over, pew, pew, and take the picture. What I will also do for you, because I know that we multimodal people, I'm gonna, oh, wait a minute, I can't put it in the chat because there's no chat. Please go ahead and scan the QR code and complete the survey. It is actually one of the quickest surveys you will ever take. You just click responses. I mean, they're making it super easy for you. So since they were so kind to make it easy for you to complete, be so kind and please complete the survey.
All right. So now we've taken up all the time from our members, and I don't want anybody calling me talking about Brother Anderson held us hostage. I don't do that. Again, thank you, Brother Waller. I don't know if I thanked you, but I'm gonna thank you again. You are phenomenal, and because you expose yourself, you will be utilized again. Trust and believe. Thank you, brothers, for coming in. Let me discontinue the recording. Once we get permission, because there were a couple of times this was asked, once we get permission from NIH, because they're territorial, once we get permission to post this and Blue Fly Clips on our YouTube station in the LMS and give it over to BGLC so that they can post it as well. Once we get permission to do all of that, we'll have the communications team send out a link on the e-blast so that you can go back and look at this again. I am so, you all don't know. You really, when you're the first one to do something in this particular frame, it just makes you a little nervous. So I can log on Thursday night to Jennifer's call and just sit there and let it roll. Thank you all for coming, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.